Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Lots to get to today. As always, when we talk Tampa Bay sports, we do it each and every day. 2 hours Tampa Bay sports-centric sports talk for you folks, all free of charge, as far as you know.
As far as they know.
As far as Bill will be coming. Good morning to you, Tim Ham, from our Dallas affiliate, DSP Media. What's up, partner? How are you?
Good morning, everybody in Tampa. What a great sports weekend we had, man. Lightning blowing people out. The Bucs blowing people out. Dude, it was a great sports weekend.
Best team in the NFC. Come on now. They're better than the Eagles because they beat them.
They beat the Eagles.
That's right. They beat the Eagles. They're better than the Lions because the Lions have nobody left on defense. And they beat the Lions. That's right. So why not us? Why not us? And nobody's talking about the Buccaneers. Nobody. Although I will say this. Your boy last night, Troy Aikman, on the broadcast was talking about I've been texting with Baker today, so he and Baker are buddies.
Oh, yeah.
So he gave us a little love. And they'll be on Sunday Night Football against your Cowgirls. So it's about time they're going to get a little bit of national publicity. Are the Cowboys ready for this? Are they ready for this wagon pulling into town? Are they ready for this?
You know, I'm not exactly sure what's going on in the building out there at the Star because the team that I saw this weekend was not the team I expected to see this weekend.
Really?
No, because the Cowboys aren't good. We know this, right?
Right.
They're not good. They played pretty well. They've lost Trayvon Diggs now for the season, the number one corner, he was coming off the knee injury from last year. He wasn't playing very well anyway, so whatever. Our number two corner we've been without most of the year, Deron Bland. We got one game of Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs right this season. But, man, this Cooper Rush, he's the backup quarterback who's playing for the injured Dak Prescott. He's not great.
He's not terrible.
He can be a game manager when you need him to be a game manager.
He's a gamer. Yeah.
And, he doesn't have the throws. He doesn't have the arm. He's not accurate. But he is managing the offense as they are presenting it to him. He's missing some open guys, but then he'll make a throw that you're like, wow, look like a Dak throw. Maybe that's not a compliment, but whatever. I never know. You know what? And here's the deal. Here's the most positive thing for the Bucs about this weekend. They're playing in Arlington. The Cowboys suck in their home stadium.
Yeah.
They've won one game all year.
That's good news, right?
I'm excited as a Bucs guy, I'm excited for this game this weekend.
Well,
it's very doable.
We need you guys to lay down. We need you to, not that, you haven't done that a lot this year anyway, but that'll be nice. Just do your part and we can all ride into the sunset in our wagon on back home for a couple of games to finish this up, get to 11 wins. 11 wins. I predicted 10. Said 11 they could get there, but that win over the Chargers was pretty damn special, and they made it look easy. They made it look really, really easy. And listening to Todd Bowles yesterday, obviously, these we've talked about this all year long. The rookies have been, the reason that this team is where they are today, and why they have improved. And we talked about this when they drafted Graham Barton. I said this all throughout the draft process. The center position is the most important position where you can upgrade the most because Robert Hainsey was just so, I hate to even say bad because he's a good teammate, good dude. He was just not physically wasn't up to it. And Graham Barton is just so much better. And he's allowed them to do so many different things in the run game. Yep. And I think Kevin Carberry is kind of the unsung hero, the offensive line coach, and working with Liam Cohen, because to me, the number one reason the Bucs are where they are, and you can look at the passing game and look at Baker's numbers, at career high and touchdown passes and all these things. But to me, it's the run game. The run game is the reason that they are. They've gone from 32nd to 4th in the league, second in yards per carry at last check. That's an unbelievable jump up the board. And it comes from coaching and obviously the emergence of Bucky Irving and Graham Barton as the center. Bredesen, we have to give a lot of credit to him as well. All these things that are different from last year's run game. But I think the number one thing is they've gone away from this zone scheme, which they weren't very good at, and they're running the gap scheme a lot. A lot of movement on the offensive line. The execution, I think, has been tremendous, not only in the run game, which when you're pulling a lot of guys, it takes a lot of timing, athleticism. A lot goes into it, and obviously practice and execution, and they have done a fantastic job of it. Rashad White has improved immeasurably, and I think that's where you look at Rashad White, the same dude, right? But his yards per carry are up tremendously. And why is that? Well, because the offensive line is blocking better. They have a better scheme, and they have a balanced offense. I mean, if you look at the offenses in the NFC and the league in general, I think that the Lions obviously are really good, but they just lost Montgomery. Yeah. They're not as balanced as the Bucs are, and balance is what wins in December and January. And this is, I keep going back to this. As Brady said, and I think it's the residue that I think is the most important that he left, is it's not who you are in September or October. It's almost that's immaterial. It's who you are in December and January. What kind of team do you become as the season goes along? And they have refined this running game to be dominant. They've run it on everybody in the league, the good defenses, the bad defenses. And it sets up everything else they do. I mean, if the Bucs had Chris Godwin, are you kidding me? I think they would have probably 2 more wins and maybe be and almost get to the number 1 seed. This defense I'm still very suspect about. Shutting down the Chargers is not a huge feather in your cap. I think they might even be more challenged by the Cowboys offense this week because Justin Herbert was on one leg. They've lost a lot of they don't have a whole lot of playmakers. I mean, I was surprised when I saw the Chargers, like this is not a great offensive football team. And you got to give the Bucs credit. I mean, they played tremendous third down defense, over 6. The Bucs never punted. They controlled the game. They controlled the clock, which helps your defense, obviously. But defensively, they made plays on third down. They they didn't have J.K. Dobbins, who's clearly their best runner. Gus Edwards is, he's just a guy. Their receiving core doesn't scare anybody. And Justin Herbert is the thing. And they got after his ass. And that's to the Bucs' credit. So I'm still concerned about this defense. I think even Cooper Rush with CeeDee Lamb and Dowdle, these are good players. These are good football players. They can mess you up. So I'm still a little bit worried about that. But this Bucs offense should just absolutely feast and eat against the Cowboys defense. I think you would have to agree with that.
You know what? I'm not sure about that. Like, okay. I want to agree with it. And I thought that going into this week, I was like, Liam Cohen's. And by the way, you mentioned earlier that the Bucs aren't getting any national attention. Look, the Bucs never get national attention. We all know this, right?
Except when Brady was here.
Except when Brady was there. They just don't, right? Either, Mike, I saw somebody the other day asking the question, is Mike Evans even a Hall of Famer? Like, will he even get? I'm like, are you freaking serious?
Right.
Anyway,
are you paying attention?
My favorite show in the world, my favorite sports show in the world. Everybody on this show knows what it is. Good Morning Football.
Oh,
yesterday, Liam Cohen, Peter Schrager, one of my boys on Good Morning Football, Peter Schrager did an entire segment on Liam Cohen and named him his NFL Coach of the Week. Now, this is for all the coaches, both sides of the ball, head coaches, everybody. Wow. Every week, he picks one guy. And he was like, you know what? The Bucs scored 40 points, didn't punt, 506 yards of offense against Jesse Minter's defense. Jesse Minter's a great defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. That's one of the strengths of that team. Bucky Irving, 117 yards. They ran for 223 yards as a team, as an offense. They converted 9 of 13 third down attempts. Baker Mayfield only had 5 incomplete passes against Jesse Minter's defense. They made Jesse Minter's defense look silly. So this gives me a little bit of hope that they can perform the same way, because I don't think the Cowboys defense is as good as the Chargers defense. No. And then I watched the Cowboys and the Panthers. Again, It's the Panthers, right? But the Panthers had been playing well, especially for the 3 weeks going into this game. Mike Zimmer has kind of figured out the Cowboys defense the last 4 weeks. He's figured out his guys. Don't forget, this is his first year back in Dallas as the DC after Dan Quinn went to Washington. So early on, when the defense was horrible, look, he didn't know his guys. He didn't know his roster. He didn't know what they could do. Now here we are, going into week 16. He's figured out what his guys' strengths are in the secondary and the linebacker on the defensive line. You've got Micah back and healthy. He had 2 sacks against the Panthers. Oso Odighizuwa at defensive tackle is having a game. Carl Lawson had the game of his life against the Panthers. The defense is looking really good. So to me, this entire game Sunday night will be Liam Cohen versus Mike Zimmer, and it's whoever can get the best of whoever. It'll be the first time, obviously, they go up against each other as units. To me, it's going to be whoever gets the best of whoever is going to win. The Cowboys' offense obviously is horrible. How they score 30 points, I have no clue, but it happens. I don't know they can do that against the Bucs. So half of my sports brain says Bucs 40, Cowboys 24. The other half of my sports brain tells me Bucs 17, Cowboys 14. Like, I have no freaking clue which direction this is going to go because I don't know which one of these teams on both sides of the ball is going to show up.
Interesting take. This is what you want. You want consistency, obviously, in this part of the year in December. And the Bucs have consistently run the football, but they haven't consistently been great on defense for the season. Now, the last 4 games, they are the number 1 scoring defense in football. How about that?
Yeah.
Like 15 points a game. That's ridiculous for the defense that we saw. And that's without Antoine Winfield and Mike Edwards.
No Mike Edwards.
Yeah, and Jordan Whitehead. So you've got 3 safeties out. You would think that Cooper Rush and CeeDee Lamb and this Dallas passing game could figure some stuff out. We'll see. But the Chargers weren't able to do it. And again, I think a lot of it had to do with Justin Herbert, but great game plan by the Buccaneers. I went back and watching the replay. This is something that we're starting to see when I think that the Bucs were very heavy zone for most of the season. It looked to me like they played a lot more man last week. Of course, the zone blitzes, but they were sending 6 and 7 constantly. And that type of heat on Justin Herbert, who just couldn't move. Never let him set his feet. The interception he threw was quick pressure from Levante David. So I think Bowles is kind of evolving into a much more aggressive play caller because he really doesn't have the guys to cover. It's like we've got to get to the quarterback immediately because if we have to stay in coverage for 3 seconds or more, we're toast. We just don't have the guys. And I think that's great. I think it's going to, it's going to force Cooper Rush to make quick decisions. And you'll see Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum. As long as those 2 guys are healthy, they can play a lot more man defense, and Tyke Smith as well. So if those 3 guys are healthy, the safeties, I want to say they don't matter, but that allows them to rush 7 and get at least, or rush 6 at least, and get after the quarterback and force that quick throw. So I love the way the defense is evolving into this, full-on pressure defense because they have to. They're forced to. Offensively, they're running the ball and controlling it, and the windows that are opening up at the play action game are really allowing Baker to do his thing. And Baker's playing his ass off. He's healthier now. You could tell by the way he ran the football this week that he's as healthy as he's been because I think his ankle was bothering him a lot for a few games. And not only that, the velocity of his passes, that 1 touchdown to Evans over the middle, that skinny post, he threw from about the 44-yard line, and that was a frozen freaking rope. There was no air under that ball. That safety had no chance to get over and get to that seam route. And that was, and I think that's what Troy Aikman was talking about last night. He's like, man, I went and watched those highlights and like, damn, you made some throws, brother. And he's getting more confident. This Bucs team is rolling. And I don't see any impediments in these last 3 games that should keep them from getting to 11 wins. They're going to be favored in all 3 games, but it's the Bucs. Sometimes you just like, man, last year all they had to do was beat a Saints team that it really had. I think they had a little bit to play for. They had an outside chance at the playoffs, But the Saints came in here, week 17 or the penultimate week, whether that's 17 or 18 now, whatever you want to call it, and beat their ass. And that's, so you keep that in the back of your mind and say, that can't happen again, not this team. And I think this team has evolved because last year's team just didn't have a running game that they could lean on. I mean, when you can just hand off when things aren't going well in the second quarter, which has been a little bit of a bugaboo, what does Liam Cohen do in the third quarter? Give it to Bucky. Give it to Bucky. He did it again, 3 straight runs, and he reps off a 50-yarder.
And he's hurt.
And he's hurt. And he's hurt. I didn't expect him to play much this week. No. My bank account took a hit on it. Thanks, Bucky. I won plenty on you this year, but it gave most of it back just because I didn't think he was going to play. I didn't think he was going to play or get limited carries. I thought Sean Tucker would get most of the carries, but he just came out and shocked everybody, including I think Liam Cohen, and ran with a vengeance. And now, he's the best. Was the fifth running back taken in the draft, and clearly above all other rookie running backs. All these young rookies are playing a very, very big role. And I said this at the beginning of the season. I said Graham Barton is going to be a great center. He's going to eventually be a Pro Bowler. He's had some growing pains, but I think he's been really, really good. But we were going to lean on these young players to get it done, and they had to perform well for this team to do well. And with the exception of Braswell, all of these rookies are really contributing. I mean, obviously Graham Barton is, Tyke Smith is, the only guy that can catch an interception. Well, Jamel Dean got one, so they threw it to him. He caught it this time. Tyke Smith is not, he had 6 games. He was hurt, 5 or 6 games, but now he's back playing and making plays. And obviously Bucky Irving has been tremendous, and Jalen McMillan now 3 touchdowns in 2 games. So this rookie class had to step up that this Bucs team was going to do anything, and they've done it. And I believe I don't see them hitting a rookie wall. That could happen. But even some of these second-year players like Kalijah Kancey is really starting to play well, like he did last year late in the season. So this Bucs team looks phenomenal, and I hope they can keep it going through these final 3 games and into the playoffs, and they don't get any more debilitating injuries. So hopefully they can get Antoine Winfield back, get Mike Edwards back. I think he can come back. So they should get better. Wish Chris Godwin could come back, but the fact that Jalen McMillan and Sterling Shepard have stepped up gives them some options at wide receiver now. So look, and then last night, oh my Lord, the Falcons are awful. Kirk Cousins is cooked. And I mean cooked. I mean, listen, I'm watching.
Pretty sure we talked about that when the trade went down, right? Yeah. Like we discussed that at length.
We were never I was like, oh, actually I was a huge fan of it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, have fun with that.
You paid him how much at 36 coming off an Achilles? When you go get Justin Fields for nothing and draft a pass rusher? Well, you're going to do this or go pay a pass rusher with the money that you gave Kirk Cousins, but you still got to pay him for 2 more years? Okay. You know how good the Falcons could be? How could they?
If they had just played their cards right.
Oh, my God.
They could be running away with this division this year.
Easily. I mean, just think if they go get Justin Fields. All right. If they still want to draft Michael Penix, go for it. And I'm not saying Justin Fields is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but he's better than Kirk Cousins, and he was free. 5th round pick. That's it. Are you kidding me? And you could grow with him, certainly, in that offense.
Well, at the very least, you wouldn't have owed him $100 million. Like you're going to Kirk Cousins, right? Yeah. Even if he sucked like Kirk Cousins.
You could have drafted a pass rusher with that 8th overall or 9th overall pick that they took Penix with, or going out and paid for a Danielle Hunter or a pass rusher on the open market. With what you paid Cousins, you could have got 2. You could have got 2 pass rushers for the next 3 years. I mean, it's just they played the resources that they had available, and what they did with them is criminal. And thank God, because they could have been set up for years to win this divisions. And this is why GMing is so freaking important in this league, man. And they absolutely screwed the pooch on the quarterback, the draft pick. Nothing against Michael Penix, because hell, they should start him at this point. I mean, last night, Dan Orlovsky, I think it was him on the podcast, was begging them. Even it was like, I know you can just get a field goal and win this game, but don't you want to give him some confidence? Let him throw the ball into the end zone. Raheem wouldn't do it. they're terrified of the guy just dropping back because it's a disaster every time. He was 11 for 17 in an NFL game. 11 for 17, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They scored 15 points. I think 2 of them was a safety, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're awful. How did the Bucs lose to this team twice? Are you kidding me? So are the Falcons going to run the table? No.
Dude, the Falcons, they are falling apart. They look like the Eagles did last season at this point of the season, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the Bucs are getting hot, right? They're getting hot right at the right time you want them to, right here at the end of the season when you need to win. You've got the Eagles and the Lions in the NFC. You're clearly not going to kick because they both have 12 wins. You're not going to catch the Eagles and the Lions for the number 1 seed, 12 wins. But you can, to me, you can build momentum. Look, the Lions might be a one and done, right, in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Eagles might be a one and done in the play. I don't know what we don't know what the brackets are going to look like yet, but both of those teams, I know the Eagles are winning, but there is so much dysfunction in that locker room, just like we had this time last year.
Yeah,
and they're winning.
Similar.
And AJ Brown is
except they're winning games. Yeah,
they're still winning, and AJ Brown continues to complain about it. There's this supposed rift between, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, even though they continue to deny it. They're doing spin control. They're not getting along.
Right.
And that cannot sustain success through the end of the season and into the playoffs. That room is dysfunctional. The Lions, they're great, but they've got so many people hurt. That's going to affect them in the playoffs. Yeah, Tampa Bay right now, Tampa Bay might be, as you said, the best team in the NFC, them and the Vikings going into the playoffs, and whoever draws them in the first round in the wild card, I don't want to play them.
Nope.
If I'm the Vikings, I don't want to play them. If I'm the Lions, I don't want to play them. If I'm the Eagles, I don't want to play them. If I'm the Commanders, I don't want to play them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're that good right now, and that's exactly what you want. And Troy Aikman early in the season was a little hard on Baker Mayfield. They had this little back and forth early in the season where Aikman on the broadcasts wasn't really giving Baker a lot of credit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what spawned this thing from last night that they were talking about. And,
I didn't remember that.
Aikman, he wasn't like Baker bashing. He was just, Baker needs to play better. As Baker goes, the team will go, Baker needs to play better. Well, he wasn't playing very well the first part of the season, right? So it's not to say that what Aikman was saying was justified, but this thing from last night, this has gone on all season between them two. And Aikman's finally coming around. He's like, yeah, this Baker kid's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
So they were texting back and forth, and whatever, they made up. Baker, I think it was more of a game for Baker, to act like he was pissed off at Troy, because he wasn't. It is what it is. Everybody respects Troy around the league. So but I think that's true. As Baker goes, so go the Bucs. And you know what? We talked about the game against the Chargers last week, Friday, when we were previewing it. And I said, Baker can't have a Baker mistake game. He can't play like mistake-prone Baker and then beat the Chargers. Well, he didn't play a perfect game.
No.
But he played well enough.
He threw a terrible pick, and then Mike Evans bailed him out on another one that should have been a terrible pick.
Where he had to play cornerback. Yeah. But Baker had an outstanding second half.
Yeah, he did.
The entire team had an outstanding second half. That's the Baker we need to see roll through the playoffs.
Yeah. And then listen, there was I counted 2 other turnover-worthy plays too. He threw a ball to the out that was a pick 6. He got lucky on that. There was another one that he threw. Forget exactly which quarter that was, but at least 3 turnover-worthy plays. And you're right, you can't do that. And I full disclosure, you watch this show. I didn't think the Bucs were going to win that game against the Chargers. I thought their defense was really, really one of the better ones. Looking at the numbers, I wasn't that impressed with it watching it because the Bucs were so good against it. And it's like, look, the Bucs offense and this offensive line is so freaking good. They have rounded into shape. Bredesen has become what a pickup he was. I mean, thank God the Giants have no idea what they're doing in the front office. To let a guy like that get away, and he is playing tremendous football. And, Tristan Wirfs is playing great despite him being probably 75%. Gedeke is going to get paid. I mean, he is playing really well, and Cody Mauch is having one hell of a season. He has really gotten better. So, and Kevin Carberry needs a huge pat on the back and a lot of credit here for what he's done with this offensive line. And when you have an offensive line that can protect, and can pave the way for this running game, that travels. I don't care if you have to go to Green Bay, that's okay. If you have to go play outside anywhere, that's okay. But they're gonna host week 1. Maybe Minnesota, maybe the Packers. And look, I watched Minnesota play last night. Mm-hmm. They're a good football team. They've got, and Sam Darnold is better than you think.
Yeah.
And he just, as I said last night, he reminds you a lot of Baker. He's athletic. He can throw on the run. He can move. He's got some moxie to him. He's got really good weapons, obviously, in Addison and Jefferson. They've got a run game, and with Brooks, they've got a really solid team, and their defense is obviously really good. So Minnesota, to me, looks like, when you say Sam Darnold, I get it, but they look damn good.
Is it possible? Do you think that we go into the offseason and Sam Darnold is the number 1 free agent quarterback on the market?
Yeah.
How crazy is that to think?
I tell you what, Minnesota's got a bit of a conundrum right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think you keep him. You have to re-sign him.
Don't you?
You have to. But, dude, his price tag is going to be outrageous. But
is it?
I think so.
I think he's in the Baker category, and Baker didn't break the bank.
Baker also didn't test free agency like I think Sam Darnold will.
Well, no, he
did. Not wholeheartedly.
No, I think he was always coming back to the Bucs. And I think other teams knew that.
Yeah.
And didn't want to, throw money at him and be exposed for, selling out their quarterback. There's probably a little bit of that going on. But yeah, Sam could be. But the Vikings got a decision to make. What are they going to do?
You know what I think should happen? Who I think should go make a run at Sam Darnold?
Who?
Chicago.
Don't they have a quarterback?
No, they don't have a quarterback. They think they have a quarterback.
You don't think?
You think Caleb Williams is the answer to that team long term?
Well, you can't come off him now.
No,
you can't come off him now.
I'm saying let Sam Darnold come in and play next year, and let Caleb Williams watch somebody who knows how to play quarterback.
That's not going to happen.
I know, but I think that would be such a great storyline. I wish it would happen so much. Or here's the other thing I wish would happen. I wish the Jets would make a run at him.
Yes. Is Rodgers coming back? We don't know.
How funny would that be?
I know, right? Going home. Wow. I tell you, he's playing great football, and it may be Baker and Sam Darnold, depending on how the brackets shake out in the playoffs, going up against each other.
And I'd love to watch that, man. The Vikings and Bucs in the first round would be amazing to watch.
The retread bowl.
Yeah.
The retread.
Look at us now. And by the way, you know what I thought was completely, I don't know if ironic's the right word, but very gratifying to watch? That Baker Mayfield had that game at SoFi Stadium where under the same roof where he had that amazing performance.
Yeah.
First game with the Rams when he'd been there for 2 days 2 years ago, right? Under Liam Cohen. I can't remember who they play now, but he just had that amazing performance, having been in the building for 2 days. I just thought that was really probably gratifying for him too.
Yeah, and where he rehabilitated his career. All right, let's take a quick break. Scott Reynolds will be joining us next. We'll talk some more Buccaneers. We'll get to your comments as well. Some comments coming in. Good stuff. So we'll get to that. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you have any legal issues whatsoever, please contact them through the website, JeevesLawGroup.com, and tell them JP sent you. I'll give you a free case evaluation if you've been in an accident, have some issues at work, have an insurance claim, whatever it is, let them go to work for you. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results, whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great Cafe Paradiso. You just heard the spot there. If you're looking for a place to take the fam for a nice holiday dinner, no place better than the Cafe Paradiso. It is absolutely the most fabulous food, a great setting. There you are. Look at all that food. Look at the veal piccata. Oh, look at the lasagna in the middle there that I absolutely mauled. The Alfredo, the wine was fantastic. And the service is fantastic. So if you want real Italian food, traditional Italian food, not this new frou-frou stuff, Cafe Paradiso, number 3 on Open Table's top 10 restaurants in all of Tampa Bay. Go see
how
it.
It's not number 1, I'll never know.
Yeah, and it's not a gazillion dollars a plate like everywhere else you go. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, the face that runs the place over there, looking handsome as ever. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Doing good. Not as good as the Buccaneers, but pretty good nonetheless.
Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
That's just a wow as he sips from his K-State purple tumbler there. Very beautiful.
Should we ask what's in the tumbler this morning? Or
It's just water. It's a little early, Tim. It's a little
Is it? I mean, I'm an hour behind you, and I've already started. So what's
well,
up
there
with
you
that?
go. Yeah. So liquid breakfast for you, maybe liquid lunch for me, but you know.
Honoring the late great Chris Thomas. Yes.
Yeah.
Have one early on in the morning before you get to the track. That was, I did not expect that. I did not hear your preview podcast as far as who you were picking, but I picked the Chargers in what I thought would be a low scoring game. Yeah. Like 20-17. And boy, was I wrong and happy to be wrong. That was
me too.
That was a wagon that rolled through SoFi Stadium. And I think the biggest surprise to me is, again, how well they ran the football and just ran up 500 yards on this, the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on how they got that done?
Yeah, I mean, it shows what this team is capable of, right? I mean, we have to remember, and you have to kind of like put this in two different boxes. The Buccaneers did beat the Lions. They did beat the Eagles, right? So, I mean, they have shown they can go toe-to-toe with the best teams in the NFC South and actually come out on top.
Yeah.
Those were early in the season. And so, recency bias is real, right? Because it's not about what you've done, it's what you're doing in the NFL. It's what have you done for me lately? It's that type of league. We saw last year a Buccaneer team that barely got to 9 wins, won the NFC South. They hosted, I want to say it was an 11-win Eagles team in the wild card and just demolished them. And why? Because they had momentum, because they won 5 out of their last 6 games. The Eagles were kind of fading down the stretch.
Oh, yeah.
After like a really hot start. So it does matter when you play. Are you playing with momentum or not? Are you playing with an injured roster or not?
Mm-hmm.
The good news for the Buccaneers is they're still kind of banged up, but at the same time, they'll be getting Winfield back at some point before the end of the season. They'll be getting Whitehead back at some point before the end of the season. So they're getting closer to full strength. And, knock on wood, they didn't have any injuries coming out of this game for the first time in a long time. You look at the Detroit Lions, and they're
decimated.
They have 19 players now with David Montgomery going on injured reserve. 19. The Buccaneers have 9, but the Bucs only have 2 starters. I think it's like 5 or 6 starters for the Lions that are on injured reserve. So again, Lions are a great team. Don't get me wrong. The Buffalo Bills beat them, but it wasn't like the Lions just laid down.
The old Lions were a great team.
Yeah.
The new Lions, not so much.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of like, how are you playing heading into the playoffs and how healthy are you? Those are the 2 biggest factors. And the Buccaneers right now check both of those boxes. They're getting healthier and they're playing really, really good football. 4 wins in a row. This to me shows that if the Buccaneers, it shows me what they're capable of. If they get out of their own way with the penalties and the turnovers, they can beat anybody in the NFC. And I'll tell you what, they can beat the Chiefs right now too.
Scott, the Bucs have been one of the best defenses overall in a lot of different categories over the last month or so, maybe month and plus. Has this been a conscientious effort and changes that Todd Bowles has made on purpose, or is this the fact that they're just making adjustments for the teams that they're playing? What do you think we can attribute this to?
Well, this was really the big question mark I had coming into this Chargers game. It's one thing to beat Tommy DeVito and the Giants. It's another thing to beat Bryce Young and the Panthers and Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders. These were not juggernauts by any means offensively. And so the Chargers, they're not really an offensive juggernaut themselves, but Justin Herbert is clearly the best quarterback they've faced since the bye week, right? Since Brock Purdy, came into Ray J and beat him again. So this was more of a test. And the fact that they held the Chargers to just 17 and shut them out the entire second half. And they did it with a bunch of backup safeties, right? And Vi Jones and J.J. Russell at linebacker next to Levante David. So I think they have turned the corner. They're playing better. I think they're making some coaching adjustments. I didn't necessarily like what Casey Rogers had to say, the co-defensive coordinator, when asked if they kind of figured things out during the bye week. And he admitted, he's like, yeah, during the bye week, we got the chance to kind of look and see what players were actually capable of doing and play to those strengths and then not ask the players to do things that they couldn't do. And I'm sitting here thinking, it took you 10 weeks to figure that out? I mean, you're telling on yourself here, right?
They're so slow.
Yeah. Had you figured that maybe during that 4-game losing stretch, maybe you don't lose 4 in a row. So, and it's like you have staffs for a reason.
Right.
And I know it seems like the conveyor belt never stops, right? It's game, and it's either, victory Monday or a losing Monday. And then, you have the players' day off and then you're next practice. Yeah. So it's crazy to
you should be able to do those evaluations as the season is evolving.
Yeah,
right.
Yes. At the quarter mark at least, or something. Like you got to set aside a couple hours and sit there and break some film down and do some more self-scouting. But
yes, agreed.
So, but at the same time, okay, fine. They figured it out. Better late than never. And they are where they are, which is on top of the NFC South. The Falcons look terrible. Thankfully for them, they have the Giants coming up. So, but you look at that Falcons Commanders game. I mean, that certainly has playoff implications for both teams, and we'll see. But
And that's in Washington, by the way. Outside.
It is in Washington. Yeah.
Where the
And
Falcons
I'll tell
are not
you,
used to playing.
and Kirk Cousins did not fare well in his return to Minnesota. I don't expect him to fare well in his return to Washington
He's
either.
cooked, Scott. You watched last night. I mean, that was I saw a quarterback with zero confidence, zero mobility. I mean, and zero faith from his offensive coordinator and head coach. Like, they were not going to allow him to lose that game.
Right.
Do they go to Penix, you think? Do they?
That's so risky to do right now just because they haven't played him. And I'll tell you what, I mean, a couple of things. Number one, maybe the Falcons were smarter than we gave them credit for. We all kind of laughed and chuckled when they drafted Michael Penix in the first round after signing Kirk Cousins to this massive deal, right? Maybe they knew something. Maybe in hindsight,
why didn't they know it
right
before
play.
they signed him to the huge deal?
Well, right. I agree with you. But then here's the damning thing. Remember, they only played Michael Penix, I want to say, in one of the 3 preseason games, and they kind of shut him down.
Yeah.
And I, looking back, I think they did that because they didn't want Penix to upstage Kirk Cousins and then have the Falcons fans
initiate a controversy.
Yeah. So they didn't want that from the get-go. Okay, I understand that, but
that's not how you make coaching
decisions. That's not how you make coaching decisions. And it kind of damns you now because Michael Penix has only played a handful of snaps here and there in some of these games, and experience matters. And so he should have been playing in all 3 preseason games and probably the vast majority of reps. That was his time to kind of shine. I mean, look what the Bucs did with Kyle Trask, and Trask came off his best preseason because he played a lot. I mean, Baker Mayfield only played in one game, just that one series. So, yeah, I don't know how you can turn to Penix right now with the playoffs on the line, and and expect him to play better than a veteran Kirk Cousins. I mean, they're in no man's land, right? They're in the void.
You can't ask a rookie quarterback that hasn't played a snap in the regular season to come in and fix your offense. That's not.
He played a little bit a couple weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. He played a handful of snaps here and there, but Tim's right. You can't expect him to come in and fix the offense. If he comes in via injury and that happens by default, okay. But right now, as sad as it is for the Falcons fans, Kirk Cousins gives you the best chance to win just because of his experience.
Yeah. Scott, compare what Jason Light did this offseason to what I'm searching for the Falcons GM name. Anyway, that guy.
You're talking about.
Terry
Fontenot. They had, I think, 80 or 90 million in cap space.
Yeah.
They had the 8th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
They had access to Justin Fields for nothing.
Yeah.
And with all that, this is what they came up with. They don't have a pass rush.
That's right.
They could have gone free agent. I mean, this is how important GMing is in this league. They screw him. Jason Light hit every nail square on the head with one shot. Every as a sweet spot in the draft. Look at these rookies that are just absolutely taking over this team in huge spots. I don't know what kind of production they're getting from their draft class, but it can't be much. I mean, this is why the Bucs are going to win this division and why the Falcons suck.
Yeah. And it's not just this draft class, it's stacking draft classes, right? It's go back to we all know the 2021, like that it hadn't panned out right. I mean, you got
the draft
JPS,
that shall not be talked about.
You got Trask, you got Hainsey, Darden, Britt,
almost as good as the 2016. It was Vernon's
2016,
class, 2016.
Yeah. It's better than the 2016, but not much better. But if you look at 2022, right? Logan Hall, sack and a half. I mean, he has not been the player they wanted him to be. Okay, he's not. But 4.5 sacks on the year, his best year so far. And if he can develop into a more athletic version of
Will Golston,
and hang around and be kind of like that steady Eddie guy and continue to improve.
You'll take that.
You'll take that. Yeah. Right. I mean, was he overdrafted at the end of the day? Yes. But then you have Luke Gedeke, 2nd-round pick.
Wow.
Right behind him, who is an elite offensive tackle now. I mean, he's not worse, but that's like saying Chris Godwin isn't Mike Evans, but he's still freaking Chris Godwin, right? I mean, Luke Gedeke is Luke Gedeke. Then you have Rashad White. Then you have Cade Otton. Then you have Zion McCollum from that draft class.
5th round pick.
Yeah, that's 2022. 2023, Kalijah Cansey. Cody Malk, who's easily the most improved player on the team and has Pro Bowls in his future at right guard. Yaya Diaby, Servacia Dennis, who will be a starter next year at inside linebacker. Payne Durham, Josh Hayes, Trey Palmer. That is a solid, rock solid draft class right there. And then this year, Graham Barton, first round, Chris Braswell, the developmental outside linebacker, Tyke Smith, who is a playmaker at nickel, Jalen McMillan, who is coming on like gangbusters, Bucky Irving, Elijah Klein, who might be a starting left guard next year if they I think they'll re-sign Ben Bredesen, but they'll throw these two in the mix and let them duke it out.
What a great get he's been.
Sure.
What a great free agent pickup Ben Bredesen's been.
Yeah.
We can't forget that. Light crushed the offseason.
He did.
He crushed it. And the Falcons just completely
And by the way, Baker Mayfield's the third highest paid quarterback in the NFC South still. What are we doing? What are you doing? New Orleans,
how much draft capital
what are you
did we give up to get him?
You have no chance with these stupid decisions.
Yeah.
First of all, I never saw this from Ben Bredesen in New York. I never saw this, this level of, not that he's an all-pro or anything, but I never even saw this from him in New York.
Yeah.
And, maybe the best thing, if there's a bright spot that came out of Chris Godwin's injury, it might be the way it's furthered the development of Jalen McMillan.
Yeah.
Because I think he has definitely benefited from seeing more playing time after the injury to Godwin. So, if there's anything that you can take out of that, and again, it was a terrible injury. He shouldn't have been on the field. We get that. You don't need to comment on it, JP. We get it. We know. But if something like that's going to hit your team, take something out of it positive,
That's
right? Like turn it into a positive somehow. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen McMillan already has 4 touchdowns, and Chris Godwin, his rookie season, had 1, right? So, and look what Chris has become after his rookie season, which wasn't disappointing. It was just like, okay, he's a 3rd-round pick, and we'll see what happens with this guy. Oh, at the end of the season, he had like 98 yards against the Panthers. It was really kind of his breakout game, week 16, and then week 17, which was the final game of the season that year, caught the game-winning touchdown pass against the Saints, like in the last play of the game, and had his first 100-yard game, first touchdown at the end of the season. And then look what that did. That was the jump pad for him having the career he's had. So Jalen McMillan, in some ways, already ahead of the curve from where Chris Godwin, another 3rd-round pick, was in his rookie season. But coaching matters, and I always say that, and it's true. Coaching matters. If it didn't, they would just have the players show up on Sundays and just, wing it and play. But coaching matters. Development matters. Yeah. You mentioned Ben Bredesen. There's a reason why he's having his best season here. It's Kevin Carberry and Brian Picucci, the offensive line coaches. They're head and shoulder upgrades over Joe Gilbert and Harold Goodwin. And
huge.
Just like Liam Cohen is a head and shoulders upgrade over Dave Canales. Liam Cohen comes in and he brings in all these new offensive coaches, and they're complete upgrades at every position. The only one that was not new was Skip Pete, and he's doing a great job with Bucky Irving, obviously, and Rashad White and Sean Tucker. But these are all new young coaches, and we've seen overnight vast improvements for a lot of the players that were already here. And we're seeing the development of a Jalen McMillan. We're seeing the development of rookie center Graham Barton, right? Where we're not seeing that development really is on the defensive side of the ball. I think the best defensive coach probably in terms of position coaches is Rashad Johnson, the Nichols coach. He's young. He can relate to these players. He's not like 60 years old like most of these other guys are. And listen, these coaches that I'm railing about, they have forgotten more football than I will ever know. And I know my place in all of this as a media member. At the same time, I do talk to these players, and trust me, when it was peer-to-peer, when I walked in the Bucs locker room for the first time at age 24, and those players were my age, it was much more relatable. It's different, right? Yeah. Now I'm 52. I'm coming in like their dad, right? Not somebody that I would hang out with in Ybor City on Friday and Saturday nights, with them. Bucs players, you know who you were back then. We would hang. Hey,
and coaches.
You're the Buccaneer magazine guy. Yeah, I am. Right? We're hanging out, grabbing some beers, whatever. It's different now, and I walk in there kind of like as Coach Scott father figure to these guys as I'm interviewing them, and it's a different relationship. But at the same time, I'm 52. I'm not 62 like some of these guys are, and I feel like that generational relatability matters, and having an understanding of these guys matters. And it's like these players, like my kids are like 19, 19, 21, and 23, and so I have kids these age, and I can relate because I have kids like that. So
from a fatherly perspective, yeah.
But I'm not in my 60s, and my kids aren't in their 30s. You know what I'm saying? It's a
are you
little
saying
bit different.
that just like your kids don't listen to you, these kids don't listen to their coaches?
Well, yeah, to a degree.
Because my kids don't listen to me.
I mean, they are kids,
anymore.
right? That's what we're talking about. They are kids.
They just go, "Oh, Dad, not that again."
But I think
I always turn out to be right.
The other thing too, though, is the older you get, the more set in your ways you are. Lord knows I'm that way. You can ask my kids. It's the same way with these coaches, right? You have Kevin Carberry, who's coming from the Rams, Prakucci coming from Kentucky, right? You have Brian McClendon, the receivers coach, who's phenomenal, coming from Georgia. You've got Liam Cohen coming from Kentucky. They're dealing with 18, 19, 21, 22, 23-year-old kids in college. And a lot of those guys, it's the same age in the Bucs locker room right now. And they're coming with fresh ideas, new concepts from the college ranks, right? And these older coaches, they're less likely to change, right? And I think that's why we've seen some of the predictability on the Bucs defense. And I think that's why we haven't seen the improvement on that side. I will give them credit. They're playing really good ball right now. Hopefully it continues and change, and it doesn't change. But in the offseason, I think Todd Bowles needs to really look at his defensive staff. And I know a lot of these guys are his friends. Good Lord, his position coach was Nick Rapone at Temple, and he's the safeties coach.
Yes.
Okay. He played ball at Temple with Kevin Ross, the cornerbacks coach. They're both in their 60s, He's got to get rid of some of his cronies and bring in some young, fresh blood to this coaching staff. I go back to when Tony Dungy, and he lost Herm Edwards to the Jets, and he lost Lovie Smith to eventually the Rams to be the defensive coordinator. Then he became the head coach of the Bears. Yeah. He brought in Mike Tomlin, who is this young guy, younger than John Lynch, right? He brought in Mike Tomlin and Joe Barry as the position coaches, right? And then Rod Marinelli leaves, and Joe Barry leaves. And all of a sudden, Gruden brings in guys like Gus Bradley, right? And Todd Wash, the defensive line coach. Younger guys, younger coaches coming in from the college ranks, new ideas, fresh approach, relatability. It all matters. So I'm off my soapbox now. Sorry.
Well, you have to get to you don't have to comment on this, but our chat yesterday and chat today is all about, guess who? Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
We can't lose Liam Cohen.
That's right.
We can't lose Liam Cohen.
Cannot lose Liam Cohen. Yep. Got to figure it out.
That's what everybody said about Dave Canales last year.
Yeah, but this is different.
I feel like you got something better than Dave Canales.
I don't remember Peter Schrager doing a whole Kyle Brandt doing a whole thing on Dave Canales last year, but he got a head coaching job, so he did something right.
The other thing too is, here's the thing, right? Who are the Bucs playing on Sunday? Cowboys. When is that game, Tim?
Sunday night.
Sunday night, prime time. Are there any other games Sunday night?
Nope.
No. The entire NFL is watching. Bucs Cowboys.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, that they're going to finally get the national exposure that they are.
And Liam Cohen will be talked about ad nauseum if he puts up points like he has. And here's the thing: we saw him drop the 40 burger, but what we don't see from this offense to get to that 28-point average, which I think now is like 29 points per game, you don't have the 42 points one week and the 14 points the next.
Yeah,
they have scored less than 20 points one time this year. That was week 3 against the Broncos, 26-7. Outside of that, they have scored 20 points or more in every single game. And I'm not sure if there's another team that has that claim. I'll do the research on that.
And why is that? Run game.
Yes. It's run game, but here's the thing. Under Byron Leftwich and even Dave Canales, there was a certain level of predictability. By this time of the season, we knew wide receiver screen to Chris Godwin, run up the middle on first down, right?
Run up the middle on second down.
I have no idea. I don't know what in the hell he's going to call
No.
at any point in time. I just know it's good. It's probably going to be good.
From
because
from
it's been
what
good all year.
formation? And from what
Right.
formation? No,
Yeah.
he's done
He's
such a great
different.
job of mixing it up and
He's
the eye
special.
candy and the miss and
Yes.
yeah. So he's
You
going to
can't let
be
him leave. You can't let this guy out of the building.
Ben
This
Johnson,
might be the
Liam
next
Cohen.
Kyle Shanahan. This
Right.
might be the next Sean McVay. You can't let this guy leave at any cost.
So look,
how's
here's
that-
the deal.
so how's that going to work out?
I missed out. I missed out. I waited too long to get press credentials for the game from the Cowboys. So I'm trying to get JP to hook me up through the Bucs so I can go to the game Sunday night.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk into the Bucs press room. And when Liam's up there, I'm going to go. My first question will be Liam Cohen, Tim Ham, JP Peterson show, Tampa, Florida. What do I have to do to get you to be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year?
Well, that should cause a stir.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, Liam Cohen will not be at a podium and you will not be answering questions, but Todd Bowles will be. So you can go ahead and ask Todd.
I'm sure Todd would love that question.
Hey, Todd,
he would love
what
it.
do we have to do to get Liam Cohen?
Please
in
don't
Dallas
mention the
next year?
JP Peterson show
Yeah.
when you do that. When you do that question,
Yeah,
to
I
Todd.
don't. If Todd stays, I don't think he wants to find his fourth offensive coordinator in 4 years. I know that, right?
No, he does
because
not.
this guy is special. He is a special play caller, and whether you structure the deal to you make him the highest paid offensive coordinator, and you leapfrog Ben Johnson, who he's making what $3 to $4 million per year, something like that. Most coordinators make about $1.5 million.
Right.
That's about the average. The good ones, the upper echelon guys, make $3 to $4 million. And I will say this: the Glazers twice, to public knowledge, they made Monty Kiffin after the Super Bowl the highest paid defensive coordinator. And after the Super Bowl in 2020, they made Todd Bowles the highest paid defensive coordinator. So they've shown the willingness to open the checkbook and say, you give us the number, and what's the top number? We'll beat it, and we'll make you the highest paid coordinator.
But after just one season, you think he would draw that?
I think it's it's really the results, right?
Yeah.
It's a results-oriented business. So Todd Bowles was here in 2019. They went 7-9, and then 2020, 2 years, they made him the highest.
But
I think it's results-based. I mean,
but the difference here, Scott, as you well know, Monty, wasn't there. People weren't clamoring to make Monty a head coach,
correct?
As far as I remember, just because of his age and his eccentricities, can we say?
Yeah.
And no one was knocking the door down for Todd Bowles to get another head coaching job.
That's right. He was just when he won the Super Bowl, he was 2 years removed from the Jets job.
Exactly. But Liam Cohen will be 1 or 1A on everybody's list.
Yep.
With Ben Johnson as an available coach. Now that Bill Belichick is no longer available.
I know, right?
So he either turns down multiple head coaching gigs to be a high paid coordinator, or he becomes a coach in waiting, or Todd Bowles retires, or something else happens. And as I said yesterday, we can debate this all we want.
Right.
Let's let the season play out.
I agree.
And the season will tell us exactly what we need to know and what the answer is going to be.
Yeah.
And I also said this: the Glazers are letting that man, Liam Cohen,
that's right,
get out of the building.
They fired John Gruden and Bruce Allen after going 9-7. They didn't make the playoffs, but this was the only coach that brought them a Super Bowl championship. And they had just re-signed him and Bruce to huge contract extensions with raises prior to the start of the 2008 season. They were 9-3. They lost their 4 straight games. Part of that was Monty Kiffin going to Lane's aid up in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
But they fired Gruden 17 days after the season ended, 17 or 19 days, something like that. And why did they do that? Because Raheem Morris, who was going to be Kiffin's replacement, he was going to be the defensive coordinator under Gruden. He got a head coaching offer, or I should say an interview with the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not want to let the next Mike Tomlin leave. At least that's what they thought. They thought Raheem was going to be the next Mike Tomlin. And I think with a little bit more seasoning, he might have been.
Mm-hmm.
But when they made that switch, Raheem was just too young. Right?
Yeah.
Had he worked with Gruden for 3 or 4 years as a defensive coordinator, maybe that experience would have helped him a little bit more age and maturity and all of that. But it didn't work out, and he's got his second job now, and I I'm happy for him. I'm also happy that that they're behind the Bucs in the division standings. But we've seen this before. We've seen the Glazers act because they didn't want somebody to leave. So that history tells me that is a door to open. That is a potential door number 2, door number 3, whatever. That is a possibility that they would consider this. There are some in the Tampa Bay market. I'm not going to name names. I don't have any information on this, so I'm not necessarily of this camp, but there are some that believe that Bruce Arians was kind of pushed aside because they wanted Tom back, and Tom wanted the Bucs to run the ball more than they did under Bruce, who was the quarterback whisperer, and he didn't want to drop back all those times and do that. So there are some that believe that Bruce was kind of forced out and Todd was forced in. And
that'd be me.
Yeah. Well, and you're not the only one too. I wasn't even referencing you, but there's more than you. So if they've made these moves before, you got a 61-year-old head coach and you've got a 39-year-old hotshot offensive coordinator. So is it within the realm of possibility that they make that type of move again? Yes, you can't rule it out. I think the best case scenario for everybody involved is the Bucs go to the Super Bowl, win it. Todd retires at 61 and turns the team over to Liam Cohen. Everyone's happy in that situation.
Yeah, we don't have to have this conversation. So
exactly,
Liam's not going anywhere, and this will all take care of itself depending on how the season turns out.
Well, because if the Bucs go the way we anticipate now, winning the division and maybe a first round win against Minnesota, Philly, whoever, he's earned his job back, right? Like he'll be back unless he decides not to.
Todd, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to fire a coach who wins 3 straight division titles in his first 3 seasons, and that would be he'd be the only coach to do that. Arians didn't do that. Gruden didn't do that. Dungy didn't do that. Matter of fact, Gruden holds the record for the most division championships won, which was 3, and Todd will have already tied that this year if that continues. So,
in a historically horrible division, has there ever been a division?
Yes, there have been.
No, not for this long. Not for this. There's
I think the NFC East. Well, maybe not for this long, but the NFC East for about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they used to call it the NFC least. I remember
the NFC least. Yeah, no, it was bad for a long time.
Yeah,
no, this is three years where there's only one team above 500, maybe 4 years.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, that's just awful. And the out of conference or out of division record of these teams is it's just awful.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So anyway, tell us what's coming up on Pewter Report this week, my friend.
We've got our preview shows coming up on Pewter Report TV Wednesday and Thursday at 4:00 on Pewter Report TV. Make sure you check that out. Hit the subscribe button when you do. We're on our way to 17,000 subscribers. A lot of momentum there. Appreciate all the Pewter people for doing so and joining us live. And if you missed the live shows, you can catch the archive versions on Pewter Report TV. PewterReport.com. We've got a ton of new content and stories up every day. Make sure you follow us on social media on X and Facebook at Pewter Report.
Thank you, Scotty. Great stuff, my friend. We'll see you,
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Soon at the ball yard. Appreciate you.
You got it.
See you, Scott.
See you.
I don't think Scott, you're not going to Dallas, are you? No.
I am not going to Dallas. No.
But somebody will be. Somebody will be there from the Pewter Report.
Yeah, hopefully me.
Yeah, that's right. From the JP Peterson Show. We're working on it.
There you go.
Top people.
See you guys.
Thank you, Scotty. All right, we'll take a quick break. Brian Bradley's going to join us live from the morning skate to see who is practicing this morning. See if Hedman's out there. See if, JJ Moser probably not. But we'll get you an update on the beat-up Bolts who are just absolutely flying as well. So we'll do that. We're brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source, folks. It is the holidays. And if you want something perfect, you don't know what to get your girl, listen, just go to the Gold and Diamond Source and say, I got no idea. And I'll say, what's your budget? And they say, oh, come on over here. And they'll show you some things that will just wow you, or just let their staff pick out some stuff because you're an idiot. You don't know what women want. So that's why they're there. And of course, it's a local company. We want to keep everything local this Christmas season if we can. So I know you got to go to Amazon, but just for one day, go shop some local places for Gold and Diamond Source. 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Hey, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There's been a lot of talk about lab-grown diamonds. Oh, they're just like the real thing. No, they're not. They're not the real thing. They're lab-grown. They're fake. You want to give your honey a fake diamond? Not a good way to start off the relationship, folks. Take my word for it. Get the real thing, and no place better to shop than the Gold and Diamond Source. And remember, if you shop anywhere else, you don't know if it's real. You don't know what you're buying. The Gold and Diamond Source has been in business for over 40 years. Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors in our community. You know it's real. It's the only place to shop. And if you're planning to purchase for the holidays, don't forget to take advantage of our layaway offer at the Gold and Diamond Source. You can reserve your favorite piece now and pay in easy installments, making your holiday shopping stress-free. As always, we offer up to 5 years interest-free financing for just $84 a month when you finance $5,000. It's the only place to shop for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source. 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Brian Bradley will join us from the morning skate here in just a little bit. And TJ Reed's going to join us at 11:45 as well to get his perspective as his jet lag is now over after flying out to Los Angeles and witnessing that demolition of the Chargers. Easily, I would say, top 3 game I've seen the Bucs play in the last 3 years, without question. A complete domination, especially in the second half. This is a game that was very much in the balance in the third quarter. But you make those momentum changing plays, Mike Evans catch and run. That was an incredible play by Baker and Mike Evans and the offensive line. They're just clicking, and they made the plays in that particular time. And that's what wins in December and January, making the big plays at the crucial moments. And that's part of championship DNA. Teams that haven't been there before, they're not confident. They're not playing fast. They're not playing in an aggressive way. They're sometimes just waiting for something bad to happen. And it's a totally different mindset when you've been there and won a Super Bowl. You know what it takes to win games. You know how to be resilient. You throw a pick, you come back, you let it rip again, because you know that's the way you have to play to win. Yeah. And I applaud the Eagles this past week. Even though there's dysfunction, they understand that if they are second to last in the league in passing, when they need to throw the football in the playoffs, they got to be able to do it. And they went out and proved last week they can do it. and they need to get better at it. It's like with the Falcons last night. It's what Dan Orlovsky was talking about. Even though you could probably win the game handing the ball off because the Raiders aren't going to score, you need to your quarterback has got to get some confidence and start playing at a level. Otherwise, you got no chance. You're not going to make the playoffs playing like this. There's no question about that. Because you got to be 2 games or a game better than the Bucs, and right now the Bucs are hitting on all cylinders, and that's where you need to be. And it's a team evolving.
We talked a little bit earlier about Raheem Morris and Kirk Cousins. Would he bench Kirk Cousins for Michael Penix? And I found some quotes after the game last night that addressed this, where he was obviously asked this after the game by the media. He was talking about the play of Kirk Cousins and where do you see him in terms of a starting quarterback moving forward? He says, Morris said, he's got to play better. And, obviously we've got to go back. You've got to be able to look at everything. He wants to play better. He has to play better. We have to find a way to get him to play better. We'll go to work tomorrow, and that's part of our process. Then someone pressed him and said, if he can't play better, are you prepared to replace him with Michael Penix? Now, here's where you get coach speak, right? He wants to say something without saying anything. So he says, quote, we've got everybody on our roster for a reason, right? We've got to get so much better. And like those things will always be discussed. That's just the nature of the beast in football. It's just so heavily talked about at the quarterback position because there's only one guy out there. So like for us, our mentality is to find a way to win the next game. That's just the mentality we're going to have, end quote.
I'm not answering this question. This was what he's saying. I don't, because I have to answer.
He's not. He also didn't come out and say, you know what? Kirk's our starter. We'll find a way to play better with Kirk. Michael's still developing. He didn't say any of it. He didn't rule it out, really. Right. And that's kind of the story.
Yeah, and so much of it is political because, Fontenot is the GM. This is on him and Raheem. I don't know who made that decision. I don't think it was – it seemed – it just – that decision with Raheem coming in and Zach Taylor and the whole new blood coming in, it just made no sense to me to go to a retread. Maybe that was an edict from Arthur Blank. I worked in that organization. When Arthur makes up his mind about something, you better do it. And maybe that was an edict from him that said, I want an experienced starter with this team. I want to win now. I'm 800 years old. I don't have much time left. I want to win a Super Bowl.
That's again, I don't have that much familiarity with Arthur Blank or the organizational process, but is that Blank's the kind of owner that would have gone and set that with Terry Fontenot and said, look, bring me a bona fide experienced starter. And then we can draft whoever we can. And
I think the Baker Mayfield situation probably hastened that. He's looking at the Bucs going, look, they went in the division and they went and got a retread. Go get me a guy that at least is proven. I'm tired of the Desmond Ritters and, trying to develop and find a quarterback when, this is, we have a team and a roster. So I thought the Falcons were a quarterback away last year for being a really, really good football team. They had a lot of good players on their squad. But doesn't mean Kirk Cousins was the answer. Sam Darnold may have been the answer.
I don't know who else thought Kirk Cousins was the answer for any team.
I don't either. It's like even at 36 without an Achilles, I would have said, that's Sam Darnold's a hell of a lot younger, more mobile. Yes, I would have looked at that. Or Justin Fields. It was what I thought was a great option for
hometown kid, right?
Well, yeah, Justin. Yeah, absolutely. In that offense, it just didn't make any sense to me. So that's why it feels a little bit like maybe a little bit of owner meddling here. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just guessing.
We're used to that here in Dallas. I just didn't know how it worked.
Exactly. So it didn't seem like a Raheem Fontenot new regime type of move.
Right.
It seems kind of antithetical to that. But anyway, I wanted to hit the Rays real quick before we get to Brian. Obviously, there's a vote today at the county commission to approve the bonds, which is basically what the city did last week to, quote, call the Rays bluff. Now, I'm going to keep this as simple as I can. This ridiculous deal that we railed about for so long, and one of the points in the deal that we talked about months and months ago was the fact that the Rays could not build the stadium and still get development rights. And it was a huge red flag to the people that looked at the deal. We talked about it ad nauseum, and they did it anyway. They approved the deal in that structure. So now what happens is where the county commission would normally vote no, and I think the city commission would have voted no, they're actually compelled to vote yes on these bonds because of the ridiculous deal that the mayor agreed to, and the city council agreed to, and the county commission agreed to, that would allow these Rays to get the development rights without building a stadium. And it just seemed foolish, but they did it anyway, and now they're stuck. And they're also stuck with an organization that doesn't want to pay for the cost overruns that they agreed to pay. So whatever happens today, and I think the commission will approve the bonds because the city has begged them to do so, because they don't hang their ass out in the wind and have to give up the development rights. And basically, they're going to, I think, Latvala and Shearer and the guys that are kind of on the fence will vote yes, just to quote call the Rays bluff, because I think they know what we know. The Rays aren't going to pay for their part of the stadium, and they're going to have to back out and then not take the development rights. And I also think that the commissioner, who I know for a fact is aware of the Tampa group that is trying to buy this team, and I also know for a fact that the commissioner is not pleased with Stu's shenanigans in this deal. He has come to the conclusion that Stu is the issue, or at least a huge part of the problem. And I think that the commissioner told the city commission and the county commission, I believe this wholeheartedly, that he said, look, do not vote for these deals if you're thinking that the Rays will leave. This is not if you don't approve it, they're going to leave thing. We're staying in this market. And I think that's why he talked to the city. And I think that's why the mayor said the Rays are going to stay in the local community and didn't say St. Pete. I think the commissioner said, look, don't think of these votes as if we don't approve it, the Rays are going to leave. They're not, that is not a threat, because the Rays cannot leave without our approval and the other owners' approval. And Stu does not have the votes to do it. So don't think of this as if we vote it down, they're going to leave type thing. I think he told them that. And so don't think that he's 100% in on this deal in St. Pete, because I don't think he is. And I know he's aware of this group that wants to buy the team and build in Tampa. So that's still, I think, very much alive, no matter where this vote goes. What this vote, I think, is they're probably going to approve the bonds today, but it doesn't mean the deal is back on, because the Rays have still not agreed to the quote cost overruns. So there you go. Quick primer there on what's happening today. How about we talk some hockey with the great Brian Bradley, newly minted Lightning Hall of Famer. I don't think you've been on the show since that was named. Congratulations to you, my friend, going in with the great Rick Peckham, I believe, right? So congratulations, my friend.
You betcha, JP. You know what? It seems like we haven't played hockey in a little while, so right now, but you know what? Yeah, it's an honor, privilege. I mean, when you look at going in the Lightning Hall of Fame with Rick Peckham, amazing broadcasting career. I mean, over 30, 35 years. And then, you know, get the names of, you know, Marty, Vinny, obviously Phil Esposito, Dave Anderchuk, and then Brad Richards. So it's quite an honor for me coming up in February. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to watching a little hockey. It seems like the Bolts have been gone for about 2 months now.
I know, right? Well, it can't be a Lightning Hall of Fame without you, my friend. You were the linchpin that put the organization on the map. You were the big name. You were the all-star. You were the one who took us to their first playoffs over into Thunderdome, which is a better hockey arena than it is baseball arena. But that's a whole nother story for another time. You were the man, and it's well-deserved. And that's awesome. It's going to be a fun induction with you two guys going in. All right, so let's play some hockey tonight. He's skating today. What's our injury situation? What do you see?
Yeah, Hedman was on the ice today. He skated, looked good. So to me, I would say he's in. I don't see. They sent a couple of the kids down. You know, I talked to Julian Brisebois in the corridor. We didn't really talk too much about the team tonight, but you know, they sent Carlisle and the other guy down who scored his first goal. So to me, that just tells everybody that Hedman's back in the lineup tonight, and you know, should be good. I mean, coming off a 3-1 road trip out west, and obviously we lost to Edmonton, but then we won in Calgary, Seattle, and Vancouver. So great road trip for the guys when they go out there. But the team looks good. I mean, you know what? You know, I'm going to start right at the top. You know what? I think Brendan Hagel and Anthony Cirelli have been outstanding.
Yep.
Both got around 34 or 5 points right now. But to me, those guys have been amazing. Good picks for Team Canada coming up. Deserved. They've played terrific all year. To me, if you had to pick an MVP of the team right now, I'd pick Brendan Hagel. I think he's played so well this year, stepped his game up to a new level. And you know what? You look at our star players, Kucherov point, even Jake Gensel, which Jake Gensel's hit a hat trick. The last game scored goals in 6 straight games. So Jake Gensel can put the puck in the net. Braden Point's got 20 goals. Kucherov's got 46 points. I mean, you know what? I love our first 2 lines. And then Connor Geekie, the young kids, really settled into that line. And then Nick Paul in the 3rd line and 4th line. But, obviously, to me, it's, Vazzy played amazing on the road trip. And you know what? I think one of the things I watched from the road trip, guys, is that we had so many injuries on our defense. J.J. Moser, Hedman, Chernak going out. I mean, I thank God we have Ryan McDonough, because Ryan McDonough was so steady in the games back there. Probably helped all the kids out, but you can't substitute guys who played in the league a long time. How calm they are with the puck. The kids play a lot better, but major injuries to guys on the back end for a few games there without Hedman, Moser, even Chernak. That's incredible how good we played.
Brian, we've got the Blue Jackets coming in tonight. They're not a very good team. They're even worse on the road. I think they have just 4 road wins all season. However, they're pretty good when they score 3 or more goals. I think the last time the Lightning allowed more than 3 was the Capitals back in late November. What do they got to do to shut down the offense for the Blue Jackets tonight to get another W?
Yeah, the Blue Jackets got some players, Sean Monahan, a few other guys. They can put the puck in the net. I mean, when we played them, I think last time, I think the game ended up 7-6 in Columbus. It was just a shootout, crazy game. But I'm not seeing that tonight. I think Vazzy played really well on the road trip. He didn't play Saturday night in Seattle, so he's going tonight. I thought the game we lost in Edmonton 2-1, I thought Vazzy was outstanding. Yeah. He got 4 breakaways, or at least 3 or 4 against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So I know Vazzy's playing tonight for all you fans out there. I saw him in the morning skate. He's 100% in the net tonight. The lines are the same as on the road trip, and I think Hedman's back in the lineup.
Nice. Brian Bradley joining us from morning skate. You look at this road trip, especially in the 3rd period against the Flames and the Kraken. They outscored those 2 teams 7-0. Overall in the 3rd, they outscored 9-1 on the road trip. And that's with young defensemen out there and the other team desperate to get back into the game. So it seems the defensive structure of this team, you mentioned Hagel and Cirelli, it's everybody's playing well defensively, 5-on-5. It's not just the defensemen. I think their commitment to that has really turned it around for this team. Would you agree? Especially 5-on-5.
Yeah, our 5-on-5 play right now is one of the best in the NHL, and that's what John wanted to improve on. I mean, last year I think we were like 28 or 30 on 5-on-5. One of the worst teams. We always would win on power plays, but you know what? I think Brendan Hagel's been amazing, Cirelli, Point. But the guy who is actually I've really watched the last few games, especially back check, is Kucherov.
Yeah.
Kucherov came all the way back down the ice, lifted the guy's stick well inside our defensive zone coverage, and then the puck went the other way and we were gone. I mean, I don't think that happened in the past, but I think everybody's buying into what we're doing. It starts with a good defense, and we work our way up. There's no question the Lightning can score goals. There's no question the Lightning can stop goals with Vazzy and net. We have too much firepower up front. We have such a great goaltender. Our defense is solid, but you've got to play solid defensive hockey, make turnovers, and that's why Cirelli and Hagel are so good. They're so good defensively that they get so many chances offensively because how they play defensively, they strip pucks away and they go the other way, and they have many opportunities to score goals because of their defensive play.
Brian, I mentioned the Four Nations Cup, and it seems since Hagel and Cirelli were named to that team that they played even better. Can you, as you played for your country as well, when you're named to, especially Canada, do you think that maybe even, up their confidence even more to say, you know what, I'm an elite. If I'm on this team, I'm an elite player. And when I hit the ice every night, I'm going to show that I'm an elite player. I'm part of Team Canada. Can that make you an even better player when you get that vote of confidence for such an elite tournament like this?
Yeah, you know what, for sure, JP. I think it does give you a lot of confidence. They worked really hard. I think they probably had a goal at the beginning of the season to maybe make it. They were probably on the cusp at the beginning of the season. I don't think anybody was counting Hagel and Strelly to play for Team Canada. I'm being honest. I think they were kind of like a long shot to make it, but their play this year has been outstanding. Obviously, John Cooper's been the coach of the team. He knows what it brings. And, I talked to Julian Breezewater, general manager, who is involved with Team Canada this morning. You can't have every line score goals. That's not what the tournament's about. You have to have a shutdown line. Right. I think when you got a line like Sam Bennett, you got guys like Anthony Strelly and Brendan Hagel. That's one hell of a unit to shut down other teams' top units. They're going to be tough to play against. And you know what? I love the combination, and it's well-deserved. I think that those two guys are going to play with confidence now. But let me tell you something. When you go play in that tournament and you get to play with Connor McDavid, you get to play with Nate McKinnon, Cale Makar, Braden Point, superstar players, I think when they come back, they're going to be even better because they're going to see what these guys do, how they play, how they prepare, how they execute on the ice. I think these guys are going to be even better when they come back.
That's a great point. And that really sets this team up, right, for a stretch run. Hopefully nobody gets hurt, right? But this, you look at there's 6 players on this team that are going to be playing it out with Hedman. And there's obviously this is a team that's loaded. We know that, but I think there was some questions early on in this season if the Lightning were going to be better after Stamkos and all this. But I think this has been a resounding yes. I mean, if you look at this far into the season, where the Lightning are, especially their 5-on-5 play, I would have to say Julian Breezeball nailed this offseason, and it was a major, major overhaul. But a third of the way through, it has to be an A+ grade on how he remade this roster up against the salary cap, made some bold changes with Sergachev and Stamkos, and came back with frankly, just a much better team and a much better roster. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you got to give Julian a ton of credit. I mean, I think there was a time where they could have maybe got Jake Cancel and Stamkos, which would have been crazy. But at the end of the day, you got to give Julian a lot of credit. And I said this from the beginning. I told everybody that Jake Cancel is going to score 40 goals and he might get 50. He's playing with 2 guys, Braden Point and Kucherov. They're world-class players. And let me tell you something about Jake Cancel. He's got a great shot. He's super smart. He's excellent in the defensive zone coverage, strips pucks away. And the guy, wherever he's went, he's won a Stanley Cup. This guy can play, whether it's junior hockey, college hockey, or in the NHL. He puts points on the board, and he's a great player to watch.
All right, so we got 5 of the next 6 at home in December and early January. So they got 3 games in hand with Toronto and 6 behind. By the time January comes around, I'm just going to say the Lightning are going to be in first place. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? I think we want to be in first place. I think the goal right now is we want to be in the playoffs, maybe get home ice advantage and go from there. But it's a long season. You want to be your best at the end of the season, not right now in December. But we're scoping in the right direction. I love the way the team's playing. I love the way our kids are playing. Connor Geeky's been a big thing. It's so many really good things for the Lightning. And you know what? Same as the Buccaneers. I just want to say the Bucs played one hell of a game in Los Angeles last Sunday, and Baker Mayfield and all the Bucs deserve a lot of credit. Wow, what a huge win.
We might see Baker in the house tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I met him before, but man, that guy's a warrior quarterback. And you know what? The Bucs, after losing to Atlanta 2 games, I didn't think they were coming out of that one, but they look good now. Oh boy, bring it on.
Hey, so the Bucs are in first place. The Lightning are heading that way. The Rays are moving to Tampa. Everything's trending in the right direction, my friend. This is all good.
Hey, wait, I might be moving to Tampa.
Well, that'd be a smart move.
How can things not be looking up, right?
Exactly. You mentioned Geeky real quick. Him playing on that second line the other night, that looked really good. I think he had 6 shots on goal, had a goal. Is he better than you thought he would be this far into the season?
Well, you know what? He's come in the trade for Sergachev with J.J. Moser, and they always said, Julian, that he was the icing on the cake in the trade. If this kid can play, you got to remember he was drafted 11th overall. So whether it's baseball, whether it's football or basketball, 11th overall is a pretty high pick.
Yeah.
So he has to have something. His numbers in junior hockey are 2 points a game with 50 goals in 50 games almost both times. So, the kid can shoot. He's not afraid to get in the corners. He's not afraid to be physical. He's only going to get better. Remember, he's only played 30 or 35 games this year, or whatever we're at right now, but he's only going to get better. I can't imagine him in another year or two. This kid's going to score 30 or 40 goals.
I agree.
He's going to fight. He's going to be one of those players back in the 90s that, hey, you want to go? Let's do it.
A little Tom Wilson, maybe even better and better offensively.
Yeah, he's like a Tom Wilson, and
he's
he
got
could
that size.
Potentially be better. I mean, It just takes time. He's a young kid. He's only 20 years old. He's just learning the NHL, and he's learning how to. When he played in junior hockey, and we talked about this before, JP and guys there, is that when he played junior hockey, he was playing against kids that were 18, 19 years old. I mean, he's more of like a man when you see him, and now playing against men, it's taken him a while to adjust. He's just not ready. He used to go in the corner in junior and knock guys right off the puck, flying 17-year-old kids. You can't do that in the NHL when you're playing against guys like Ryan McDonough and Chernak. They're big guys. He's got to use his body, but he's got to be smarter in what he does, and he's learning every game. I love the way the kid plays. He's a gamer.
All right, Brian, we'll see you tonight up there in the Channel Club. Can't wait.
Sounds good.
Congratulations again on the Hall of Fame, brother.
Win 6-2 tonight. Huge win.
Oh, wow.
7-2? Oh, okay. Let me get out the Hard Rock app.
6-2.
All
Big win.
Big win. Gotcha.
Okay.
We're going over. We're playing the over tonight. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
It's great, Brian Bradley right there. Geeky has been
Hall of Famer Brian Bradley.
That's a Hall of Famer, Brian Bradley. Damn right. He's 205 right now, 210, 6'4", and he's 20 years old. He can easily get to 225, 230. And he's going to become a better skater because when you come to the Lightning, their skating coaches are the best in the game. And they really improve your skating. I'm with him. I think he's going to be a 30, 40 goal scorer. And that's what
we talk to the Lightning skating coach at some point.
Yeah, we should. And here's the thing, we had no draft picks. We've given away all our high draft picks. So how were you going to find another scorer, to come after Point, Kucherov, have that young kid and a guy that you're not paying a crap ton of money because he's a younger player. He went out and stole this kid. I mean, to get JJ Moser, who is arguably a better defenseman than Sergachev, not offensively, but just a better defenseman, which is what they needed. This team doesn't need offense. They need defense. So you got better defensively, and you got a superstar, a budding superstar, an 11th overall pick that, could be a 30, 40 goal scorer. I mean, those guys don't grow on trees. So, I mean, what Jason Light and Julian Brisebois did in this offseason is insane. And if Eric Neander only had a budget to work with, he'd be doing the same. I mean, we got tremendous GMs in this town. I mean, guys that really know what the hell they're doing and great organizations, except for one. And I'm telling you, folks, if this deal comes through and we get new ownership, watch out for the Tampa Bay Rays. Watch out for the Tampa Bay Rays with a new stadium in the right place, with that revenue that you could derive from this marketplace where you're tapping into Orlando and you're tapping into Tampa. Are you kidding me? 35,000 seat stadium in Ybor with all the great benefits of being in the business hub of Tampa Bay that is exploding, by the way. New companies moving in all the time. The I-4 corridor between Tampa and Orlando, the growth that's coming there, my God, I drive it all the time. And it's nonstop housing developments. And you don't get any of that if you build a stadium in St. Pete. None of it. It all comes your way if you do it in the right place. And that Major League Baseball knows that. They know that. They know where the future is, and they know there's an opportunity here to do the deal right. I think Manfred now has been here. He understands the dynamics on both sides of the bay. They're going to see, and I had somebody on Twitter say, questioning that it's going to be a vibe at Steinbrenner Field saying, with only 11,000 fans and half of them Red Sox and Yankees fans. I think that's the other part of it, because most of the tickets are going to be sold as season tickets by people in Tampa and Tampa Bay that want to go to the games. I think you lock out a ton of the other fans by these season tickets. Now, if Stu's going to continue to be the owner, he's not going to want to sell as many season tickets because he can make more money soaking Red Sox and Yankees fans and visiting fans and locking his own fans out, because to him, it's not about what the crowd looks like. It's about how much money he can make, which he's shown that he will price out his own fans to take advantage of that. But in this situation, he could sell at a premium the season tickets to, you wouldn't even need to sell single game tickets because it would fill up. It's going to fill up just in terms of season tickets. Now they have to make some single game available. They can't sell them all. So it'll be interesting to see what the prices are. We haven't gotten those yet. I've heard through the grapevine for some people that worked in the ticket office that tickets are going to be well over $100, even for like anything down a baseline. They're going to be very expensive, unfortunately. But I still think they'll sell a majority of them. So we'll see. We'll see what the price points are. But tonight is going to be, I think it'll be interesting. The fact that they played to a 7-6 score was about a month and a half ago up in Columbus. I don't see that type of game tonight because I think the Bolts have become a better defensive team. But I do think they're going to put some points up. So, well, like I said, you hold the Blue Jackets to under 3 goals, and it's an almost an automatic win for them, or loss for them, win for you. So they're 11. They got 4 wins all year when they score less than 3 goals. So interesting stat right there. Yeah. So let me look at the Hard Rock here, and the player props for tonight. So Kucherov plus 110 to score a goal tonight. Point plus 120, Gensel plus 125 to score a goal tonight. Oh, like Hagel's plus 145. That's good money right there. Yeah, wow, that's to score a goal. Now, points is where you go though, because especially with Braden Point. Braden Point his shooting percentage is, I think, the highest in the league, but he doesn't take a lot of shots. So with him, you don't want to bet shots; you want to bet points. So Kucherov is a minus 140 he's a minus 140 for 2 points tonight. Wow. That's I would doubt that there's nobody in the league. Maybe Connor McDavid. Maybe. Or it's McKinnon. A minus. That's a minus 140 to score 2 points. So I might stay away from that because look, Hagel's a plus 170 for 2 points. Well, that's you got to look value. And you got to look at value. Yeah. Just look at the value. Don't look at the numbers. Braden Points plus 170 for 2 points. Great value. Gensel he's a -2. They got him minus 250 to score a point tonight. That's not great value, that obviously, but you can also see what his plus is if you can. Yeah. So, all right. So that's in points. Kucherov is plus 150 to get 2 assists tonight. I like the value on that one. Pointer is minus 110 to get 1 assist tonight, as is Gensel. It's plus 100. So I would look at a lot of these Lightning props tonight, the ones I just gave you. Shots. Cooch is plus 100 to get. He's got to get 4 shots. That's a lot. That's a lot of shots on goal. I haven't looked at Columbus, how many shots they give up on average. If you can find that might be interesting. Hagel, 2.5, minus 130 for over 2.5 shots. Braden Point, as I said, his shot totals are not high, so you got to watch that one. Sorelli, minus 175 for 2 shots. That's a good bet. Wow. That's a good bet. Nick Paul, minus 145 for 2 shots. I think all those are good bets tonight. Bet responsibly. Bet responsibly there, folks. I might put up a
Never chase your losses, kids. Don't ever chase your losses. Only bet what you can afford to lose. Hey, I've seen betting commercials, okay?
1-800-GAMBLING. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, TJ Reeves is going to join us, and we'll do comments as well. So quick break, 2 minutes. Yeah, lots of comments. We'll get to them all when we come back. Stay with us. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Tarpon Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Look at that guy. Oh, man. Tally, get over here. Get over here. We gotta
say hi, Tolo.
Woof, what's up, Tolo?
Say hi.
You got a bark?
No.
They won't
bark. It only barks when someone walks across the parking lot out here.
Tally's like, I'm not getting up.
Tally's like, man, I ain't got no room for that.
No, thank you.
He always comes and hangs out with me here at the studio.
Oh, you coming up? Oh, here comes Tal. Here comes Tal. We getting up? All right, come on. All right, what do we got for
we are a pet-friendly show here on the JP Peterson Show, for sure.
There she is. There she is. There's
Tally.
There she is. Hello, Tally. What's up, Curly? How you doing? How about
She's like, I ain't got time for y'all.
Oh, she's so pretty. Look at her. She's so pretty.
She's watching her sports.
Yeah. She every time a dog comes on TV, though, she has to bark at the dog.
See, mine never watch. I try to get mine to watch TV and stuff, and cute dog videos on my phone. Like, and he never even. He's like, whatever.
Now she'll see dogs like out on a walk. She doesn't bark at them, but on
really?
TV, when you come into my home, she says no.
It's my house.
My house.
Oh Lord.
Tolo's looking for crumbs in Tim's beard. You might find them.
Oh, they're there. They're there, Rick.
Nathan Allen says no doggos are going to steal the show. Rick says, is it true that Jim Rome's show is moving to drive time because he could not follow the greatness of the JP show? Absolutely, 100%.
We chased
You don't
Jim
want none of
Rome.
this. You don't want none of this.
Might not have been a more overrated individual in the history of sports broadcasting.
But it's just, this is, especially Tampa. The Jim Rome show has never done well in Tampa from a rating standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a great career and does national stuff. He's
Sure.
I totally respect what he's carved out. Absolutely. But locally, never has resonated in the Tampa Bay area ever.
I think the highlight of his career was the old Chris Everett comment to Jim Everett that time.
Made his career like Clay Travis. I believe in boobs and the First Amendment on CNN. Yeah, absolutely magical. Michael LaRue, good morning to you. Don't forget the Falcons are going to lose a draft pick for tampering with Kirk Cousins. I forgot about that. That's true. It's not in the Deshaun Watson category, but it's pretty bad signing. It's pretty bad. It's going to turn out to tank that franchise for 3 years.
Too bad.
Darn. Christopher Cole says Fields and Robinson would have been dangerous, especially with the RPO game. I said that all off season. I said Bijan Robinson and Justin Fields with Drake London on the outside and Kyle Pitts and a pretty good offensive line. How do you defend that? That's what the Eagles are doing. That's what they're running.
Have they completely wasted the prime of Kyle Pitts, who was supposed to be a generational player?
I don't know if he was ever good. He's got great tools, but
I mean, in that draft, he was my top-rated player that wasn't a quarterback in that draft, and it wasn't close.
No, I mean, Kyle Trask certainly made him good.
Yeah,
I mean, they couldn't stop him in the SEC. That's for damn sure. He should have translated, but I think he's been working with Desmond Ridder. They've had a different offensive coordinator. Yeah, I mean, so I'm sorry. When you look at what the Falcons have had available to them the past few years and what their roster looks like now. Oof.
Yeah, it's bad.
Bad decisions. Mike H says the Ybor site at Gasworks is next door to 50 large fuel depot tanks. Not exactly ideal.
Can we fill them with beer instead?
See, there's an idea. Possibilities. 50 fuel depot tanks. I think those are across the street in the Ybor channel in the port. They're not on the Ybor side, if I'm not mistaken. I do not think that. I would have to check that out. Christopher Cole says if it wasn't for the 2 block punts that the Falcons they did have scored last night. Yeah, they scored 13 points offensively, and that was with incredible field position all night long. They looked horrible. Like they are not a playoff team. And I can't believe we freaking lost to them twice. James says the Niners wanted money after the Super Bowl and Bucs paid him to stay. I do remember that vaguely, but again, Monty was never really.
He was already up there back then, and
but he was, and I don't mean this in a bad way. He was too eccentric to be a head coach. I think the word was when Monty went in and interviewed. He was just so passionate about defense. If you ever talk to him, he's like a mad scientist. I don't know if it came from the point.
Somebody else that was very eccentric that was given an opportunity to be a head coach, and he was pretty good as a head coach. But what do you have, 2 years? And I'm talking about Mike Singletary.
Yeah.
Personality-wise, dude, he could not. There might not be another guy more passionate about defense, but dude, his personality could not translate to a head coach, unfortunately.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Nathan Elliott says the NFC West has been bad for years, but nobody says it because it would make the Kansas City Chiefs look less.
Oh, he means the AFC West, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about, yeah. Yeah, probably part of that.
Maybe.
Danny Mercado said the Bucs can stop teams from talking to Cohen for a conditional coordinator position, but not a head coach position. The market for him as a head coach this offseason. Yeah, that's the point, is that you can't keep him here. If he gets head coaching opportunities, he can go wherever he wants.
And you'd have to talk him into staying.
Right. Yeah, he'd have to decide not to take those head coaching positions, which Ben Johnson did. They kept Ben Johnson. He had opportunities, but he decided they weren't good. I don't know what the opportunities are going to be. Obviously, we already know some of the jobs that are open. But the Jets job is open. I think the Bears job is open. What else is going to come open?
It's the same thing with Bobby Slowick in Houston. He had one really good year as an offensive coordinator last year, and he was being talked about.
And that's the, now not so much, that's the risk you take when you got to come while the iron is hot. Dave Canales wasn't like, hey, the Panthers isn't the most, desirable position. He's like,
I mean, the Giants job's probably going to be open.
Yeah.
And there's talk now, New England, they may be done with Gerard Mayo. I'll call him Gerard Mayo up in New England. Apparently there's some internal stuff going about that he's not.
The Raiders job, I think, is going to be open.
Do you really?
Yeah, I don't think Antonio Pierce is.
Dion?
That stadium was empty last night.
Dion and Shador to Las Vegas to play for Tom Brady. How you like that? Those are the grumblings I'm hearing. That's what
Brady's not going to coach. Brady's not going to coach.
No. But he's the de facto face of the ownership group. That's what Mark Davis said.
And how hard do you think they would come after Liam Cohen
as a coordinator?
Mm-hmm. Well, so you're talking Dion as the head coach.
Dion comes as a head coach, and they draft Shador.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. I mean, you hear what you hear, but
I don't know if Dion would be a great.
Because Dion's already said he won't let Shador go to New York, and it's New York and Las Vegas that are trying to get the number right, that are battling for the number 1 pick. Right now, it's the Giants.
Well, he could stay at Colorado and let his son go to Vegas. They're right next door, Yeah. So that might not be a bad idea, not a bad situation. I don't think he wants to coach his son in the NFL, does he?
You know what? I don't know what the hell Dion thinks. I have since 95 when he signed here in Dallas. I've tried to figure out what the hell Dion's thinking.
This will determine what Dion does. The ching.
Oh, sure.
Danny Mercado says the Bucs can stop teams from talking to Cohen. Where I did that, sorry. Harvey Ryle says we have to do whatever is necessary to keep Liam Cohen here, spelled C-O-E-N. Harvey, just for your future reference. Nathan Elliott says, can you imagine getting Godwin back for the playoffs? Could you really imagine if he is ready to play? That could be a piece to really take off.
That's a stretch, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I don't know where he is on his rehab. If anybody can get ready faster, it's him.
Yeah.
It seems like one of those injuries, though. It was a break, right? It was a fractured tibia, so 4 to 6 weeks for the bone to heal. And I think there was probably some ligament damage as well. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's a long shot.
It was ugly.
Yeah. What else we got? Drake London walked off the field one time shaking his head. He can't be happy with this quarterback situation. James,
him and Pitts both should be pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Bucs rookies on D who replaced injured starters were confused. Bowles D's takes time to learn. They are communicating better now. I think they've simplified things.
Yeah.
Dramatically. And I think it's working. That's what it looks like. Do you notice how much better the coverage is in the last few weeks? They're not, guys aren't running wide open because they simplified things. What it looks like to me. Danny Mercado says they also took the Chiefs into overtime with no receivers. That is a great point.
Yep,
they did. Nathan Elliott said, "I picked the Bucs. Good for you. I did not."
Yeah, neither one of us did.
Raheem changed his words in the post-press conference, says Christopher Cole. He didn't want to kick a field goal because Koo has been bad too.
Yeah.
So they're trying to win without passing or kicking.
It's not a good year for kickers. Plus your name's Chase McLaughlin.
That's right. That's Chase McLaughlin. Get it right. All right, TJ Reeves joining us here, the Bucs sideline guy. His jet lag is gone, I think. He has returned from SoFi Stadium and Pauley Pavilion, where he sent me a picture.
Yes.
Pauley Pavilion.
I grew up a huge UCLA fan. Oh, my God, yes.
Those were awesome pictures, by the way. Yeah.
Yes. Fantastic to be right there. We couldn't get inside of it, but that's okay. It was a lot of fun. I'm sorry I'm a little tardy. Been trying to get off the Bet US handicapping show and get here to talk some football, talk everything else. Tim Ham, we got to coordinate. I'm coming your way to Big D for this weekend with the ton going on. I got to see you, brother. We got to go have some food.
Trying to get him a credential. The Dallas are all out, so we need to give him a.
Yeah, I waited too long to request my Cowboys when I'm trying to get hooked up through JP here.
All right, let's see if JP can work his magic.
Yeah.
There as well. They got 875 seats in the Cowboys press box. They can't accommodate my man Tim Ham coming.
I just want to go eat.
Yeah. Me too.
We'll get some eating done on Saturday before the game.
I was disappointed at AT&T Stadium. I wrote a strongly worded email to Jerry Jones because I was bragging to Mr. Johnny Gerber about how awesome the food is at AT&T Stadium in the press box. We went for the Big 12 title game, right? First time Johnny's been up there, and I'm bragging the whole time. We get up there. Breakfast was superb. Omelet station. Breakfast was awesome. And I'm you just wait for lunch. Wait till they roll out lunch. You know what they rolled out for lunch?
Sandwiches.
A nacho station and hot dogs. Build your own hot dog bar. I understand.
So the Big 12 went a little chintzy on the lunch.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
By the way, I just thought I would share this while we totally digress. SoFi Stadium, $5 billion stadium. I don't want to say that the Chargers are second-class citizens, but the food over in the broadcast media area, they have it split just like you do at AT&T, where the print media or the digital media, the radio media, they're at one end, and the broadcast media is at the other end. It's the same thing at SoFi. Yeah. At our end, it was literally like bags of chips, peanuts, and like a fruit cup. And I'm looking around going, where is the food? This is lunchtime, the day of the game. Where is there was nothing there.
They got
there
fruit
was nothing.
cups?
They had fruit cup. So,
do the Rams do it better? Or does it depend on the organization?
We haven't been there with the Rams in 3 years, and I don't recall. But almost
the Chargers are.
I think the elementary school cafeteria selection might be better than what we had at SoFi at the $5 billion stadium. But you didn't.
They are notoriously cheap.
The Chargers talk food. You brought me on here in your waning moments to talk this. And I'm going to say what I said on the Nothing But Bucs podcast, plug away for all the highlights with Gene and the interviews with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Levante David, wherever you get podcasts, Buccaneers mobile app. Go check out the recap pod. I said this on the pod. I'm putting it out here on FanStream JP and the JP Peterson Show with the understanding that the Super Bowl win in San Diego is in the stratosphere. That's its own thing. That's a championship blowout win over the Raiders. You were there. I was there. Is that not the second best West Coast win over a good team dominating and destroying them besides that Super Bowl? Yeah. I think anybody would be hard-pressed under the criteria I just laid out. Find me another one against a good team on the West Coast for the Buccaneers that was that decisive. Now, many years in the 80s and in the 90s, the Bucs were the piñata, getting the candy knocked out of them by the teams in the West.
We smoked the Rams in the Coliseum a few years ago.
But it wasn't like that. Yeah. That game was like 55-41, and it was not put away until a sack fumble in like the final 2 minutes of the game where Ndamukong
that was dominant.
This was over in the fourth quarter when the Bucs got up 30-17, 37-17. You could see it. They were demoralized. So,
well, from field level, what was working? Tell me about the physicality in the run game. It seemed like that really took the starch out of their defense.
Huge. The blocking, Bucky Irving, they got it established. Again, give him a lot of credit. He's got the hip. He's got a bad back. You saw him. I think they showed it on TV a couple of times before they resumed play. He's behind the huddle out of a TV timeout, stretching the back. And then he exploded on that 54-yard run in the third quarter. Rashad White hitting the holes. The Buccaneer offensive line and as a collective group with the tight ends, they established things on the ground. But even with the second quarter interception, this guy, Baker Mayfield, is tremendous. And the first touchdown to Evans, again, we have appreciation on an improvised play. Evans comes all the way from the right side of the formation, works all the way over to the left sideline, makes the catch. He's right in front of me, toe taps, and takes off. Okay, love that play. But my Lord, what a dime to Mike Evans on the next throw on the touchdown. This is a dangerous team. What I saw at field level is a team playing with confidence, with physicality. Dangerous team here again in late December and into January. Just get into the tournament with a lot of veteran players. And if they get somewhat healthy, I know you've been talking about this, with getting Antoine Winfield and or maybe Jordan Whitehead back in the secondary, stand by on what they can do with keeping people healthy. That'll be key. But that was very impressive. They demoralized the Chargers. You could see in their body language from field level in the third and fourth quarter, they were a beaten bunch. They were not used to having that happen. And kudos to the Buccaneer offense, Liam Cohen with the calls, them executing it. They demoralized them on Sunday.
And that's what you needed to see out of this Bucs team. You know, I said going into the game on Friday when JP and I were previewing the game, I said this needs to be a Baker mistake-free performance. Like, Baker has to be the key to this. He can't throw a pick. He can't make bad decisions. He didn't play a perfect game, and they were still able to overcome it.
Yeah.
Right. He was still 22 of 27. He had another near interception that Mike Evans made a great play. Broke it up, slammed the guy down. But I mean, there was throw after throw after throw right on the money, and the scramble there in the second half for 20 yards. I mean, I'm rolling with that guy with number 6.
Offensive performance was second to none, and what they did to the Chargers defense was incredible.
That's the number 1 statistical defense in the NFL, and they put 500 yards on them.
But didn't punt the whole day.
Didn't punt. We've lived long enough to say the Buccaneers have 8 games this season of 400 yards or more on offense. These guys that could never seemingly figure it out on offense have 8 games of 400 yards or more on offense. It's tremendous.
People still have problems with Baker Mayfield. It's unbelievable.
I don't understand.
Well, I don't know what else you want besides touchdowns, winning games, and
people want to be right. They said that he was going to be a disaster. They said he couldn't play. They said he was a retread, and he has proved them wrong. We loved him from that first press conference where I went in there, and a bunch of us, the rest of us, went in there to see if let's throw out a little red meat here and see if he takes the bait. Gives us some arrogant quotes and shows, the old Baker. None of that, man. And from day one, he has owned this team. He has been humble. He's owned this city.
Yep.
This team with last year when they were making this run. I went into the I forget exactly what game it was. When Baker had a great game, he ran through a wall for a first down. I forget exactly the game, but I went in there and I asked Tristan Wirfs. I said, "You guys are developing an identity on this team about just a kind of a lunch pail crew." And he said, "It's all about 6, man. It's about 6. He's our guy, and we roll with him. And he is a field general, and he has got this team just believing in themselves that even if they're down, they could come back." This game was in the balance in the third quarter, and he came out. He made some bad plays, but he always comes back with the winning plays.
And by the way,
and a team that if you know that you have that in a quarterback, that you're never out of a game, that's priceless in this league.
Amen. And by the way, to your point, fourth quarter putting the game away, the 11-yard touchdown to Rachaad White is supposed to be a run play. And he saw the formation and he checked to the screen to White, get him on the perimeter because of the way they were stacked. So there's, again, hidden things. Todd Bowles talked after the game about Levante David. He's elaborated on it since in his press conference that Levante is not just end-to-end, sideline to sideline right now, but the number of times he got them into the right defense. After they got to the line of scrimmage, they had to check to something else, and they got to the right defense. He goes, these are things that are not on a stat sheet, that Levante David over and over again got us into the right defense, got guys in the right spot to make plays. Leadership is what you're talking about. And you have it not only with 54 on the defensive side of the ball, but you now have it with Baker Mayfield. So again, is this everything? No, you still have to finish this off. Massive game in Dallas, because you win that one, you're basically going to be in position to clinch the South, and maybe, dare we say, clinch it before you ever have to play the New Orleans Saints, depending on if Atlanta gets beat by the Washington Commanders or not. So stand by on how huge this is going to be in Big D. And I still have the same belief here that if you play a relatively clean game, run the football like you have been, Baker's going to take care of the rest. Mike Evans has made a huge difference in drawing the defense and opening things up. Look out.
And who would have thought 2 months ago, when we're sitting here talking about the Bucs struggling, especially the defense, we'd be talking in week 16 about Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers being able to clinch the South.
Yeah. But it's it's a similar thing as a year ago. They came on strong when they had to late in the year, and that's what you want. I mean, you look at play. You've been talking about Atlanta. Atlanta has fallen apart at the most critical time here at the end of the year. So now take advantage, step through the door, and go get into the postseason, boys.
Rah, rah, rah.
All right, we'll leave with this. James Rex wrote with the most obvious comment of all
What's
time.
Captain Obvious got?
I think he meant media guys. Media guys are such mooches for free food.
Yes,
You're
sir.
goddamn right. We
Hey,
are, James.
it's all about the
goddamn-
Vittles. You come to Raymond James Stadium, it is a spread and a spread and a half.
The
Teams
The
learned
best.
decades ago that the only way to get positive things written, especially about bad teams, is feed the media.
Bananas Foster.
Full
Brilliant.
bellies for the media, bread crumbs in the beard, and the whole thing. That's what you got to do to help when your team's bad.
Yeah.
On that.
That's how my kids know I had a good lunch, is when I come home and they can see what I had to
And
eat.
you're
in my
wearing it.
beard.
You're wearing it. So it's all about the Vittles. Post game, they had pizzas for us from some pizza place in LA, and then they had some other stuff later on. But you know what? I don't care.
Do you get the home? Do you get to eat what the players eat on the way out?
Sometimes it just depends.
Yeah.
It varies, depends on how much it is. But here's the other thing: the locker room, the happy plane ride. That's what I was all about. Get back home after that win.
Yeah.
Savor that one, Buccaneer fans, because I don't know when you're going to go out and
Was it
blast
a rowdy
another
plane
team
ride
like that.
Was it rowdy or were they sleeping?
Oh no, it was. I mean, it's subdued for the most part. You're back. I mean, this is very businesslike right now for this team because they have a lot of veteran guys that understand what's on the line here over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully, it's only the next couple of weeks. Dallas and Carolina, and you clinched. Let's see if that happens, kids.
All right, TJ, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. At Bucs Sideline. Give him a follow and go listen to that Bucs pod. Nothing but Bucs
Nothing
pod
but
recap.
Bucks, baby,
Always
with
good.
Gene and Dave screaming with the highlight calls, and we got the post game interviews. Mike
good.
Evans. I said to Mike, and you'll hear his answer. I said, "What's that feeling like when you break free?" And he said, I'll paraphrase. It's the best feeling in the world when you break free like that. It's nothing like it when you
After that play, I texted JP. I said, "It looks like his hamstring's okay."
I think he's feeling better.
He's okay.
All right, Tim. I look forward to being with you later on this weekend in Big D. JP, happy on.
Yeah,
we're talking about a chance to win 5 in a row for the Buccaneers. Look forward to it this weekend. I'll be back with you next week.
Thank you, TJ.
There he goes.
We'll see you, kids.
Great, TJ Reeves. We're even converting Cowboys fans at this point. Ron Galinger says, even as a diehard Cowboys fan, let's go Baker.
That's my buddy Ron. Player. He's a regular, yeah.
Cowboys not going to be there, so let's go Bake. I mean, how do you not, Ron? I mean, like for teams as you go into the playoffs and your team's out of it, I mean, I see huge Bucs bandwagon. Everybody, I think Baker's, he's turned it around from a national perspective and gone from, the bad boy to the blue collar badass. Let's just jump on this Bucs train.
He's been my favorite NFL quarterback for a long time, and I hate the Sooners.
Yeah,
but
how about that?
I mean, he was at Tech first. I'm a big Tech supporter. Obviously, I cover the Red Raiders, but man, I loved his moxie. I loved his attitude when he went into Cleveland, and I guarantee you right now today, as they still have quarterback questions, the Cleveland Browns they're ruining the day they let him go. Guarantee.
Yep. Wow. Have fun with Deshaun Watson another year.
What are you doing today, Andrew Barry, GM of Cleveland?
Getting fired. All right. That'll do it for us here. Thank you, guys. Great show today. We appreciate you, Tim. Thanks to Brian Bradley, who joins us live from Morning Skate, the great Scott Reynolds. It's a good show. TJ Reeves, me and Timmy, Tolo, and Tally making appearances. I mean, you got it all. You got it all, folks. And don't forget, you can, if you missed any of it, you can go listen on Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcast, or just go watch it again on Facebook. We are also on YouTube and FanStream Sports app. So do it all there. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. All right, my brother.